Hi, fellow traders, what's happening? I hope you guys had a great day today. Got some news about the TD Ameritrade and DOS Pro connection here. I got an email right at the close from them. And basically, I'll summarize what it, just kind of give you the highlights of what it said. They're ending the beta testing tomorrow, which means Monday. You can, if you want to use it, you've got to subscribe. The information is supposed to be available tomorrow. We'll look at the website right now. I'll show you where it's at and if it's up or not. I doubt it. It'll probably be up first thing in the morning. And I'm going to be the first one to sign up. You can bet that. So finally, and I'm glad they took their time and worked through all of this. I am so glad that they didn't rush this, that they took their time and got it right. That's why I like dealing with DOS. You know, they're only as good as their platform and the operation of their servers. And you know, those things you have no control of. But other than that, I mean, these guys are on top of everything. So tomorrow is the last day I get to use it for free. I've got to pay for it going forward, and I do not mind paying. I promise you. One of the issues that they had to work on. Now, I never ever experienced an execution issue. I mean, executions were on point. The only issues that we experienced were data sharing between TD Ameritrade and DOS. You know, they had to work a little bit harder to get the connection to work. And it all dealt with their API and how it was giving information to DOS. But one of the issues we dealt with were partially filled orders that sometimes would fill, but it would just be stuck on DOS. It would tell you that you're still in a trade, but you're not. You go to the TD Ameritrade, you're out of your trade, but it still shows on the DOS platform. And that was all because of the API and the way it was connecting. So they got that synchronized. And the last couple of weeks, man, it's been on point. I've had no issues with waking up and being in a trade and it's telling me one thing on TD Ameritrade and another thing on DOS. Everything has been connected and working beautifully. So I don't have to go on TD to double check. Everything is right on point. So again, I am so happy that they took the time and they worked through all of this. They also added the ability to update or synchronize your position intraday. That was another issue. You know, again, goes along with, you know, having trades that you were out of that still showed that you were in on DOS. The buying power and everything was not updating. But, you know, either way, it doesn't matter what platform you're on. That's just, they're giving you the information as best as they can right then. But it's not until after the market closes and everything reconciles that you're going to get your true P&L. So, and everything is updated perfectly, but it's going to match what TD has. And that is all I care about. It's beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. So tomorrow, when you come, if you want to hook up with this, it's going to be right here. Like right now, it still has the beta testing stuff up, but tomorrow morning it should be up where you could subscribe. And I would expect it to be pretty much the same pricing as IB. You know, I pay $150 a month. I got the deluxe package, and I do the same thing across the board for everybody. And I would assume that the pricing would be really close. I don't think it will be out of the park. and I don't mind paying it to use the platform. It's an incredible platform. I don't mind paying the money that I pay, because I make it up in a matter of in less than an hour. I can make what I have to pay for the platform, and being consistently profitable, I'm not giving that money back on the next trade. Or sometimes I do, but at the end of the month I still got it. But I don't mind. You have to pay for the tools that help you be successful. It's a cost of doing business. So tomorrow it should be right here. And like I said, I'm gonna be the first one to sign up as soon as it goes live. I will be ready. I'll be ready to crack that. So today, pretty much did what we expected. You know, I said last night, I expected it to gap down to either the 10, but preferably the 20. It gapped down to the 10 and bounced. It held, and we're in between the 10 and the 5. So, you know, right now we're kind of trapped in no man's land. We can't go green. I mean, it's tried to go green aftermarket and it can't do it. You know, it dipped its head above it at the close here, but that was it. You know, and now I think we're up around 347.80, 347.90. It just can't get green. So that's going to be an issue. I don't know if it's telling me that, hey, there's resistance here and we're going to be selling off again tomorrow, or, you know, if once we pop this, it's going to be a strong pop and we're going to get back up and run toward the 350 range again. You know, it kind of remains to be seen. But right now, we're in no man's land. So I have no idea what to think. It's a 50-50 shot for me. Last night, I had a pretty good idea that it was going to gap down. Right now, I have no idea what it's going to do tomorrow. All I have to do, I just have to be ready either way. You know, mentally, I have to be ready to go either way. And I like the fact today that this thing stayed above its opening range, 5-minute opening range high. If you guys track the 5-minute opening range, you know how powerful it is. And the fact that we held it, that we claimed it, and then we held it, and we pushed up all day, that showed a tremendous sign of strength. There were some stocks that continued to push all day. I shut it down at lunch for me because looking at the last 2 days, I was just way too aggressive for this market. Even though I made money, I was on the verge of giving it all back. And I don't want to do that. Now, I probably would have made more money today staying in it. But I don't want to set that precedence right now. I want to stick to me. And it's not about the commissions. The commissions are nothing. It's not about that. It's about me managing my risk and managing my exposure to the market. That's how I manage my risk. And, you know, 15, 20 tickets a day is just too much exposure for my risk tolerance. But for other people, it's fine. Some people do 50 tickets a day. It's no big deal. But you have to trade within yourself, and I have to. That's the way. One of the secrets to longevity in this industry is just being yourself, being your authentic self, and not trying to copy other people. And, you know, you're going to go far. All right, so we'll look at the trades from yesterday, and you'll see right off the bat yesterday, I got an Apple 931 and a highly aggressive entry. Highly aggressive entry. All right, and obviously it didn't work. And I kept saying, and I keep telling you every day, if we have a gap down, the value is going to be to the long side. Okay, and we had a gap down yesterday. The value was going to be to the long side. However, I wanted to outsmart the market and catch the quick flush before we started to recover. And it backfired on me. It didn't make it. Ended up getting stopped out. So I waited. It set up to the long side like I thought it would. And we got one target and got stopped out. So now we're pulling back. And I'm like, okay, I'll trade the pullback. Worst case scenario, this will be our final target. If it starts to sell off and pull in, I'll be fine here. But it almost got to my second target, bounced, and I took it off. There was no reason for me to take it off here. Break even is all the way up here. But for some reason, I just clicked it. And then I ended up getting back in down here. And it completed the move. Got my first target here at opening range low. And then it bounced back. And again, I took it off. Now, I would have been stopped out anyway. But I took it off early again. And then I waited for it to come back. And I got in it again. And the third time, it burned me. So that was that. And this was, I had reminisced. I had thoughts of this today when I decided to just not trade anymore after the lunch. I didn't want to. I could have easily given back everything I earned. If I didn't get lucky and catch a couple of good trades, I would have given back the little bit of profit that I did have. Next trade was MRNA. I was trying to play this fade here once we broke the bottom of this channel, and it didn't. And eventually it did what I was looking for it to do. And I know I'm speculating here, but I think some of these big guys are just playing with us retail traders. They just screw us over and get us stopped out because they know we're short knockers. We can't drive the ball 300 yards, so they can take us out, and then they get the move. This is the move. I don't know, maybe a conspiracy theory, maybe just me being stupid, but it sure feels like it because we see it happen over and over and over again. Some days I'm in a position where I can hold out, and some days I just can't do it. And yesterday I was just aggressive and just killing stuff early. And that was my thing. So missed out on this MRNA move. This was a beautiful move here. But I got even more stupid. If you were in chat still, you saw me do the stupidest thing I've ever done. Jump in this had news. Okay, it had news. And typically on a news play, I let the first candle print. I let the initial reaction to the news happen because I know it typically retraces about 50%. All right. So I didn't even follow the strategy. I just jumped in. Number one, this is a Chinese stock, which, for me, I just have to be really careful. I typically try to stay away from them unless we get some really good news like this that we could trade. But just really stupid. I got in, and so I had to hold through this big pullback. I was only in a couple hundred shares, so I had enough to be able to withstand the big pullback here. I could have added, but at this point I was so mad at myself, I just let the trade play out. And finally, I was able to get some off. I was able to take it off here right at the close. But look how far it sold off after the close. Now, I could have just held on to this and been just fine. but or either taking half here and just let it go. But mentally I was aggressive, and I was having an inside battle with my alter ego here. You know, it's almost like I was bipolar. There was a different trader than who I really am, and it was just going crazy yesterday. But did end up picking up a couple bucks on that. And then FSLY. This didn't report earnings yesterday, but what it did is they reported their guidance, which was awful. Okay, terrible. So what I was going to do was wait for this. So I had two plans. If it bounced and retraced 50%, I was going to short it. But it didn't do that. It just kept selling off. And this is pretty much what our oversold hook pattern looks like that we swing trade, right? We get the big sell off, and then you can see the price action. This is why it's important to know how to read these candlesticks and to understand what's happening. So this is telling me that we're trying to bottom here. We're finding some support every time this thing dips below 87.50-ish. So I'm looking for the first signal to get long. Now I was a little bit late because we had to start class and I kind of missed the entry. Thankfully it didn't get away from me. But we were able to get in, but it didn't recover. It just kind of stayed flat. I was able to take some off here, got some at my first target, and really slept this. I slept this big move here. Because of course this is 6:30. All right, I'm not going to be sitting at this computer all this time looking. So when I went to do so, I think I went to the store and came back, and this is where we were at. So ended up taking the rest of it off here. So kind of squeaked out. You know, with all of this trading I did, 20 tickets. Like I said, the commission is only 59 bucks. I mean, that's no big deal. But I only made $553.87 with all of this trading. Okay, I like making $553 on one trade that may have 4 or 5 tickets with me buying and then piecing out. I like that, but I don't like 20 tickets and only 553. I overworked myself and I didn't trade. But like I said, I'm not saying that's wrong for anybody, but it's wrong for me. So I'm not like that. But there are traders who are like that, and they're really good at what they do. But I can't follow them. You got to be your authentic self when you get into trading. If you're not your authentic self, it will tell on you, and it'll be hard for you to be a successful trader. You can't copy your way to trading success. You can't. So BA, this is a trade from today. All right. I tried to do the same thing today, but you know, we had a gap down. I know the value is going to be to the upside, but this 5-minute candle printed, and then this candle was kind of showing some weakness, so I took it, and we came within 2 or 3 cents of my first target. And of course, this being the first trade, I started to come unglued, because that's the one thing out of this whole trading deal that I have not got control over, is when the stock comes within a couple of cents of my order, my profit target, and then turns around and runs back against me, and I end up getting stopped out. And so I go from being able to lock in $200 to a $300 loss, a $400 loss in a matter of minutes. And that's something that I've had a hard time dealing with. I can deal with a loss, but that type of loss is what I have a hard time dealing with. And I'm still working on it to this day. Still working on it to this day. But I cut it. I didn't let it run against me. I knew what was happening. This was a gap down day. The support it, caught it, so I killed it before it even took me negative. And you can see it just kept going. And this thing ran all day. This was the lower day. This 158.73 was a lower day. And it just ran up from there. FSLY, this is the stock that I just stuck with all day. Well, up until lunch. And once I got out of this, I was done. I was frustrated. I was like, look, I'm not dealing with this today. I'm done. I took it off. It did pull back a bit. It would have stopped me out. And it did turn around and make another run up, but it did not. It did get up to this level, but and that was my final target. But I was done. Okay, you could see I got in, hit my first target, came back and stopped me out. Okay, got in, hit my first target, came back and stopped me out. I'm not going through that again. This could have easily been another 20 ticket day with me having to trade that way. That's not how I trade. So, I made the executive decision to click it and ended up with 403.13. Probably would have had, a mid $500 day or whatever if it wasn't for this last trade. But that was just the kind of day that I had on this. So I'm going to show you why I want to day trade. I want to start day trading once everything goes official with TD Ameritrade. It may be that I know TD Ameritrade, the short availability isn't as good as Speed Trader or IB, but it's free commissions. And I'm using the exact same platform, so I can go between accounts if I need to. It's no big deal. If there's a big short day, I can trade with Speed Trader. Or if it's a day where it's like today, where we're going to get some long trades, I can, stick with TD Ameritrade and then kind of go from there. But you could see this. Let me move this out of the way because you can't really see what I was looking at. We're going to move this over here because we don't need it. We don't need it there. All right, so this obviously, this has had some volatility the last couple of days. And so, people have been talking about it. And I'm like, well, I need to take a trade in this. I like to take a trade in TD at least once a day if I'm not buying and holding overnight or whatever. So I want to take a trade at least once a day in this. And so I was looking at, let's put this up here. So this had sold off at the open, and I'm thinking this is one of these crazy ass Chinese stocks. I believe that they're going to squeeze the heck out of these people. There was a heavy short interest, I believe, that I saw, and I'm like, this sets up, I'm going to take it. And, once it broke, it was game on. It hit my first target up here at around 27.50. Hit my first target. And no, 29, I'm sorry. Around 29, it hit my first target. I got in around 27.50. Hit my first target at 29. I honestly thought we could get through 30 on this today. I honestly thought that it was going to do that. And so I put my stop back here at break even. And I just took my eye off and just let it go. I didn't watch this anymore today. And it ended up coming all the way back. I mean, this thing pulled all the way back to the 200 and bounced off the 200 and started pushing up. So that was that. And so ended up a nice profit on this, even though it didn't follow through. We picked up 466.13. So, not bad. But what I wanted to point out is 0 commissions. You're always going to have an SEC fee, and you're going to have the FINRA, 37 cents. 37 cents. I mean, this is why I'm going to day trade with them a little more often. If the ability is there, if I check and they've got short availability and everything's good to go, I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it. Oh, and Chewy, this is, Chewy had an upgrade. I'm already in a swing trade on this. So Chewy had an upgrade after market, and I grabbed some so that I can start building a position here. I'm going to hold this overnight in here on that upgrade. But I'm taking it off tomorrow regardless. So this isn't really a typical swing trade. This was just, I jumped on this right when I heard they dropped the news that there was an upgrade. Let me see what the price point was real quick. Price point was, where is it? $100 price target. So hopefully we can get going here and give us a push. We're up around this descending resistance. This is kind of where we got stuck here after market. So let me bring this chart up real quick. So this is what I'm looking at. This is what stuffed the move the last time. So we're still holding my last third of this in the swing trade. But you can see here, we ran right back into this descending resistance. And this is kind of where it's stuck tonight. I'm expecting it to open gapped up over this. Once trading opens in the morning, people who weren't at their computers, I think they're going to buy and should drive this up. But we'll see. It doesn't have to happen that way. Again, trading. So it doesn't have to happen that way, but that's my thought or my theory. So you guys have a great night, rest of the evening, and I will catch you in the morning.